Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to episode 44 of the Fighters Rep podcast. I know the title says 43. We'll fix that. 44 of the Fighters Rep podcast, and we're joined by none other than one of our favorite coaches that we work with in Fighters Rep history, Coach Jaron. Coach, how are you doing?
Good, always good. Thank you, George, for having me on again.
For sure. And obviously, we're here as well with our co-host, Ignorant Behavior, Gary, man. How's it going, Gary?
Good, man.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about Fighters Rep 25. It's coming to the Commerce Casino on September 7th. It's going to be an incredible event. The card's really coming together. And we're also going to be touching on the Jaron Ennis versus David Avanesyan fight. We're going to predict that. But first and foremost, we got to talk about Fighters Rep 25. That's why we've got Coach Jaron right here on the show with us. And the reason we brought you on, Coach Pot, is you've got a couple guys on the card already as it's coming together with a lot of history at Fighters Rep. Two really exceptional fighters that you've worked with in the past. And I am super excited about these fights. First and foremost, David, the Death Dealer Marquez, he's going to be looking to become a double champ in the Lions Den, drop it down to bantamweight from featherweight where he's the champ. He's going to be taking on a very experienced, out of Dan's gym in Arizona, David Fisher, a guy who we saw challenge Jason Granado. He moved up a couple weight classes. He came up short, but this kid is incredibly talented and has a ton of experience. And I think that's going to be an absolutely fantastic fight. And, of course, we've got Sergio, the Cuban Missile Crisis Rodriguez, who also works at least part-time, trains sometimes with Coach Pot. He's going to be taking on Andrew Gutierrez. They both looked great in their last fight. Sergio, Coach Pot, is a guy coming back from orbital surgery or an orbital fracture. We're really glad to have him back. And when he came back at the last Fighters Rep, he looked great. So, let's kind of get into it, Coach Pot. I mean, let's start with the Sergio fight, right? Tell me what you think about Sergio. Or, I imagine you're working with him in this camp at least a little bit. And what do you think about this matchup for him against Andrew Gutierrez?
And Andrew looked good. I was there watching live, sitting down. And when he fought Moro was getting into Andrew, So, Andrew had a little slower start and, he started picking it up in the second round. And then when that kick happened, pop, game changes. Your momentum comes in. So, so for Sergio, he always has the momentum. We want to keep that momentum going and then keep it going for the first, second, and third round. So this is how we want to strategize against, Rodriguez. So, I mean, not against Sergio, but against his opponents, But, I don't know if Sergio ever told this to you, but when he got hurt, when he got that eye, he was more, he was thinking about Fighters Rep more than he thought about himself. How he trained so hard, he let you guys down. But we couldn't control that. When you get an injury and you're training hard, he trained hard for this fight, him and David for that camp. And then that happened, So, but now he understands. He goes, now this is my opportunity to gain that back to get to that championship level again. So, I just want you guys to know that,
Oh, for sure. Listen, Coach Pod, just so everybody knows, I mean, a lot of people, because, I tend to be, me and Gary are kind of cut from the same cloth, I think. I tend to be very by the rules, old school, just, if I see some bullshit, I'll call it out. You know what I mean? I'm that kind of guy. For me, if a guy has a legitimate injury or a girl, I don't mind that at all. I mean, that's a obvious reason to pull out. I don't want to see people get hurt on the card, especially something as serious as an orbital injury. I mean, that's a career-ending injury for a guy like that, and I'd rather him get back to it. The only times I ever, request like an excuse or to a better understanding if it's like a silly reason to pull out, like, oh, I just don't feel like waking up today, or oh, my car ran out of gas. This is the kind of stuff that I hear sometimes, unfortunately, in the fight game. And luckily I haven't heard that really from Sergio or David or anyone like that. So,
Right.
I really
I don't think you're gonna hear from them. But you know, I put fighters into your show.
Yeah.
We had one that did that to you. As a coach, I have to. We always want to apologize to you. We also want to make sure that we're doing our part. Everybody's watching this right now. They have to understand that when George, you run a show, you run a promotion, you're putting a lot of things into it, a lot of money, a lot of time where you're working. Not a lot of people see that. They think, okay, I'm just a fighter. If I don't fight, then that's it. People gotta stop thinking that way. They gotta make sure that they have to know that you're putting on a show. You're hiring other people. The venues getting created, ticket sales have to come in. Money has to come in for a platform for you to set up for everybody to fight. We have to press this onto the coaches, to the teams, to the fight team, to get their fighters to understand this. Like you said, injuries happen. You can pull out. But for silly reasons, you can't pull out for silly reasons. You sign up to fight. You got to go there. And present yourself. Make a name out of yourself over there during that fight time.
Well, I can tell you this, talking to George, we have a lot of conversations. But one thing I can tell you absolutely that me and him will get in even an argument about in a fight is that he cares about the health of the fighters. And so a lot of times people will fuss about like early stoppages and things of that nature. And he's like, man, I don't want these kids to get hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt. So injuries, I know he don't care about and everything. And then he also wants to promote them, give them the best ability to promote themselves before the fight, after the fight, take pictures, man, to get all this stuff going. So that's one thing I don't know if people know that about George. And that's definitely, and this is not me just being his friend. I'd be like, I don't know about that one, George. He'd be like, nah.
Yeah, we're always arguing. We're always arguing, Pat. So he's definitely not being my friend.
Correct. Just like Gary says, there's a lot of work being put in,
Yeah.
And George, I respect your time, and I don't want people to pull out. You got to go chase for their tickets. You got to, there's a lot of work to be done. If you sit in George's shoes, and understand like, hey, I got to get this set up, and just let the fighters try to run it. They can't. Not a lot of promoters could run this kind of stuff. George is doing a great job.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate it, George. I appreciate it. For me, it's not just, it's not just my time that's being wasted when people pull out for no reason, right? I mean, you got another opponent across from you who's been training for 6 to 8 weeks. Who knows how much money they've spent? Who knows how much resources they've spent? Who knows how many times they've driven back and forth to the gym with their coaches, with their team, their family bought tickets. You know what I mean? Their friends maybe bought cameras or spent a lot of time videoing their camp, or it's a lot of people putting a lot of energy into this thing. And so I want to offer people I want to afford them the responsibility, the accountability. When you sign up for something, follow through with it. That's going to help you in life, not just in this fight, not just in this little amateur fight or in a pro fight. It's going to help you in life, when you stick to something. We all know how that is as grown men, and that's kind of all I'm trying to kind of teach these guys as we build them up. But kind of back to the topic at hand, and I appreciate that, Pat and Gary. Sergio Rodriguez. This kid. I mean, he seems a bit smaller for the weight class. And Muro was also a bit smaller when you compared him to Andrew Gutierrez. How do you think Sergio's going to match up with Gutierrez, considering that, it's going to be a bit of a height differential there?
Height is cool. It's closing that distance that Sergio has, so if you watch, Gary, you watch the fight with Avila. Avila is high throwing kicks. He kicked, I think, Sergio probably over 4 times in the head. Sergio had that glove up at all times, just blocking it. So, we know what Anthony has, so we're prepared for that, So, but now you're gonna have to see, now you're gonna have to see a 1-2 punch come straight towards you right away. So, that's what Sergio is gonna bring for the fight. But Sergio is hungry. This is a young man that gets off of work, goes train, then he's training other people, then he's training again. He's over there at the UFC gym at night. I go there at night. I go there, just kind of get away, try to do my workout, try to get my gains, try to get my muscles, And I see him working. He's just working hard, running on the treadmills. In the middle of that, going to the bag. There are times where I just, record him. I was like, hey, man, I'm going to post this up. I just want to show everybody that you're just working hard, getting ready, just staying hungry. So that's the thing about Sergio. If you watch his fight, he's always hungry. He's focused. He has that, and he's hungry. And don't forget, he also has Coach Joshua Fochman as his main coach. Right. So you have a person that knows how to be hungry in the ring. You have a great coach in Josh right there.
I agree with you. I think that he closes distance pretty good. He's fighting longer fighters. Like you said, Vila was a longer fighter. And he closed distance. Even Granado, I think he fought, was a long rangy fighter, and he kind of closed distance really quick. And he judges distance really good. He gets in, he gets out. He'll get in there for the time, doesn't work, and he'll come back out and he'll turn him. The movement's great. He's really quick. That's one thing I noticed about him. Yes. But what do you think that over the time for you working with him that he has improved on?
His improvement is going to be his uppercut. I know he knows how to throw the 1-2, and now when fighters are, once they feel the 1-2, they're covering up over here. What's in this zone right here?
Yeah,
sneak in. Uppercut's going to sneak in, so it's not just a 1-2, boom, 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 boom. So his hands travel. So one hits, one's hitting again, one's hitting again. So that's the good thing about Sergio.
What I've noticed about Sergio too is, he seems to be pretty explosive, especially with his hands, and he seems to carry a lot of power, Pot. What can you tell me about his power?
We were predicting a knockout for Avila, but Avila could take punches. You saw an uppercut go in there, you saw a right cross go to the temple, you saw punches hitting the chin. So for this one, in the fight game, once you feel, connection, Josh is going to be there. Josh is going to, let Sergio, give him the green light. Now you can go ahead and go for the knockout, so you'll see it. You'll see a lot of coaches going like this. That's the green light. That's the green light. Go finish him. So yeah. So once Sergio gets the green light, then he'll go finish him. I would love to see Sergio get a knockout. In FightersRep.
What's funny, Pot? I've been noticing. Go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say one thing I did notice about Sergio. He got insane cardio, man. To go how he goes for those rounds, and he don't look like he be getting tired. He's moving around. He's fighting. What does he do? What do you guys do with him for cardio to keep him going like that?
So I don't know if you know the Beehive. The Beehive has a day where everybody has to do 25 rounds of sparring.
Damn.
Yes.
How many?
25.
25 rounds of sparring. That floor is wet. Every T-shirt is wet. The mirrors are all fogged up. It's 25 rounds of sparring. So and then
shout out to Joshua Fochman, by the way.
So he's doing good. Like I said, he has some guys from different gyms that have high kicks. He still has the power hitting from Cisco Rivera. I see Tony Ferguson over there. Because he could do that question mark kicks too. So he's over there in their camp getting ready. And also David's over there.
Yeah.
That dealer, is over there, and that dealer loves to throw high.
He can go too.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Toast is in here. He says, "Fight development, baby. Let's go." That's of course, Coach Chandlerth Potts' brand right there. So shout out to Fight Development, something that Coach Potts been doing for a long time, developing fighters. Coach Pot with the fist. Sergio Rodriguez in here, the Cuban Missile Crisis himself. He says, hello there, FightersRep fam. What's going on, Sergio? And then Hugh G. Ratchet says, salute all. Opinion on the recent beef with Eddie Hearn and Mike Hawksword. Oh my goodness, this guy's a character. Appreciate you guys. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them either for Coach Pot or for us. We look forward to hearing them. Coach Pot, big power from Sergio, and shout out to Joshua Fochman at the Beehive. You mentioned him. He's actually fought for us in the past. Man, I wish we could have him back. He's a fantastic fighter. Gutierrez looked good, though, in his last fight. You know, also showed a bit of power, especially with that kick. You know what I mean? And Sergio looked good in his last fight, too. Was able to get, I thought it was good work for him in that last fight to come back from that injury, that hiatus, and to go all 3 rounds. How did you guys feel about his performance? And, did you think it was a good experience for him in that fight?
To fight Avila, it's a great experience. You get to fight a young fighter that has cardios, that could do spinning kick, could have a kick out of nowhere. To get past him, in a decision, it was great. And then when we watch Moro, you got to remember, we watched Moro in the first and second round. I had Moro up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had him up. I had him
up well.
For that kick.
Yeah, he was doing well. He was doing well.
Yeah. And so if you
I thought Moro, when I was watching it live, I felt like Moro was winning.
Correct.
And I felt like he was winning that fight. And then he got caught with that kick.
Correct.
But
yes.
Yeah, but then when I watched it in hindsight, I think Gary had it the first round for Muro, maybe the second round for for Gutierrez. But yeah, I thought Muro was doing well. He was closing distance. He was right in Gutierrez's face. It was a good fight, and I imagine Sergio Rodriguez will be able to do that as well.
We want to push the pace. We want to get like I said, 2 to 3 punches right away inside. And just stay in there. The style that Sergio's gonna give is gonna, it's a good style to promote kickboxing, so people get to see it. More hands than kicks. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely did think that Avila, from all the fights I've seen from Sergio, was his toughest fight. I'm not gonna lie, I had Avila kind of edging it. I thought Sergio came out and Avila had trouble at first. Then he kind of adjusted. I felt like it was a fight that went up and down. Like each fighter kept adjusting. So it was a really close fight. I don't really think it was a robbery either way. It could have went either way, but I do think that that's a type of fight that helps a fighter get even better, take it to the next level, because you had to be a dog in that fight.
Correct.
Yeah.
Both of
me
them
and Gary
dogs.
actually. Yeah. I think I remember. Yeah, I think I remember me and Gary in the post fight. I think you had it maybe 2-1 Avila. I had it 2-1 Rodriguez. I thought Sergio landed. The harder strikes, and I think that's what the proper scoring criteria is for me, at least. So I thought Sergio pulled it off, but I thought it was a great fight.
Yeah,
and especially for a comeback fight where you don't know, your eye is your eye gone? Is your career changed? Like, you don't know what's going to happen, coming back from an injury like that. So I was really happy to get him that experience.
Yeah.
Sergio was my hardest fight, says Hattie Sukar. And Sergio Rodriguez himself says, Ruben Avila is everybody's hardest fight. LOL. Respect to him. That's true. He's never in an easy fight. And, I don't know if you guys remember the fight he had with Isaac De La Paz was
great
really
fight,
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Coach, he gets edged out every time.
Yeah. So anyway, Coach Pot, definitely that's a fight we're excited about. Now let's touch on the next one, right? This one's really, really interesting. Another fresh new look for David the Death Dealer Marquez, dropping down from the 127-pound featherweight division, going down to bantamweight, Coach Pot, dropping more weight, and taking a guy in David Fisher, who back when he fought Jason Granado, he had over 20 fights under his belt, and he's from a very good gym in Dan's gym out of Arizona. Man, I think this is a very high-level technical fight. Tell me your thoughts on this fight, Coach Pot.
Let me see. So George, your plan, for your fighters rep is to create fighters. Build them up, make them to the top.
The best. Yes. I want our guys that fight for us in SoCal and South Florida to be the best guys.
Now, Gary, do you know who Death Dealer is now?
Yes, I do. Hey, ask George. He's one of my favorites. He's one of my favorites.
So George, your promotion is working. Your promotion is doing it. Okay, so a lot of people know who Death Dealer is. So
Gary's in Miami, by the way. Gary's
there,
I always talk about him.
Yeah, so when we got the approach to fight Fisher, I knew this is going to be a fast-paced fight. So this is going to be a fast-paced fight for 5 rounds. So again, then David going to 122 pounds. That's fine. I've seen David go to 122 pounds before. So like I said, now David has muscles. We built more power punches in him. The leg kicks is over there, and now we still have that 2 to 3 seconds clinch now. David was always worried about clinching a person with one hand or with 2 hands. For the fighters' rules. Now we could have the 2 hands come with the knees and separate. So that's when that rule changed. David became a different fighter.
Yeah. David, I've thought about who are some of the best fighters to ever pass through the lines and who are the best fighters to ever kind of come up through the lines. And you mentioned that I did it, but obviously I did it with you guys' help, right? We do it together as a partnership, as a team, right? I've told people time and time again, it's a simple formula that people complicate, right? The simple formula is train, fight at FightersRep, go take a quick break after your fight, get back to training, fight at FightersRep, and just repeat. Just keep coming back show after show so that we can continue to build the momentum. You know what I mean, Pot? And it allows me to really match the guys properly. I know what they looked like in their last fight. So, okay, he looked like he could do this. He looked like he could do that. Let me put him in there with a guy that I think will level him up and a guy that I think will level his opponent up as well. And, that's what Death Dealer Marquez has been doing. And I must say, I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud to be a part of his career because, I believe he's one of the best sellers now as well. He's not just exciting to watch. He doesn't just have a fantastic personality, which we're happy to showcase on the live stream and on social media with the post-fight interviews and everything else that we've done with him, where his personality has shined through. His fighting style is incredible. But, he just continues to build up this momentum, and credit to him for sticking to the path. And I mean, he's just selling. He's turning into a star. He's turning into a star.
We thank you for that, George. You gave us that platform to, give David that opportunity. But you know me, George. I press on my fighters all the time. Hey, whenever you're training, record yourself, post it on social media. Social media is free advertisement. Put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, take pictures with you. Tell your friends to exercise with you. There's going to be a system where people are seeing. And then, like I said, you present a highlight reel for everybody that fights for you. Everybody's able to see it, so, thank you for that. Gary, anything you want to say?
Yeah. I was letting y'all get out the way. Now, do you ever have to pull David in some because he's aggressive. He goes, you know, it's gonna be like he's gonna go at a dude like he's not. There's no filling out process or anything kind of like that. It's action. Do you ever have to tell him, all right, wait, slow down a little bit?
Yeah. David is a nice professional gentleman.
Uh-huh.
Just don't piss him off. Don't go on social media, make fun of his character. Don't do that. If you want to do that, just know that he's gonna come and hurt you. You know, so
Yeah.
you know, so
yeah.
You know,
Oh, like when he said he just didn't like. I'm trying to think of the fighter that said he just didn't like because he was happy or something.
Mariano Corona.
when you know Corona's picking on David's character. You know, David is you know, he's always entertaining, he's always full of energy, he likes to fight, he likes to smile, he likes to go to George, he likes to give him a hug, he likes to, you know.
Yeah.
Don't go to him, don't go saying that to, hey, I don't like that kid because he does this, does that, you know.
And if you
when
do,
I saw that interview, I just went to David, I pulled him in and I said, David, that's just an interview. You know? It's just an interview, you know. Don't worry about it. And then George already knew. George was like, okay, I know David already had a week to listen to this. I'm going to pull him in. And David comes in and he just says, I don't give an F. You know, I don't give an F. And you could tell he's hungry. He's mad. You know, you picked on the wrong person, you know. And then we had the interview where, you know, Corona was saying, you know, oh, David pulled out because, you know, he messed up his nose. Then I go, I messed up my nose before. I remember how painful that is. How are you going to go fight a broken nose? And Corona was saying that he fought with a broken nose. So me and David, you know, with the pad work, we said, hey, we're aiming for the nose. I don't want any high kicks. I don't want anything. I want nose shots. All nose shots. Targeted. If you watch his fight, his eyes are focusing on the nose. You know,
God, how ruthless.
I love it. I love the pettiness. Yes.
So it's part of the fight game. You're gonna talk.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna bring it, you know. So
yeah. He's gonna talk. You gotta walk it.
I don't see him go around like, oh, you know, when, you know, this, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. You know, he's always been respectful. You know, you can be a fighter. You can bring in a lot of fans. You know, be respectful. You know.
Yeah. I thought it was a good matchup, you know, because Corona's a tough guy. Listen, he's a champion now. He just won a title.
Correct.
At some other promotion. I mean, he's a high quality fighter.
He's good. He has strong hands. He's real good.
Yeah. But it's just it was a situation where, you know, Corona's a guy that's got to get himself up and dislike you. He's got to dislike you. That's just his personality in fighting. He can't fight if he's not, like, he even told me, like, I have to be mad at the guy, pretty much, right? I have to dislike the guy. And that's like, you know, and pissing off David Death Dealer Marquez, I guess, is kind of like, you know, getting the wrong NBA basketball player pissed off, you know, because he's going to come ruin your life. Like pissing off a Jordan or a Kobe or something. It's just, some people just get turned up and do better when they're pissed off. And it looks like David Death Dealer Marquez is one of those people. I'll say this about David, man. I was talking earlier. I didn't even make my point. I'm all over the place right now. But, you know, I was mentioning earlier how there's been a lot of great fighters to come up through FightersRep. You know, as far as skills and just being able to do it all and having great movement, great speed, great power, great chin, just technique, just everything, right? Especially his movement. I think Marquez's movement is just like special, and it gives people a really hard time. And I really want to say he's one of the best talents we've ever had in the Lions Den. You know, we've had some amazing people, Coach Pot. I mean, and credit to you. Yeah, absolutely. We've had, you know, Hamza Trod, who just signed a pro deal with UNF. He's a fantastic talent. Jason Granado, of course. Cameron Spencer, who you're going to see on the next FightersRep. You know, and on and on and on. You know, Majali Gay looks the part.
Oh yeah.
Right now, he's looking fantastic. You know, we've had Evan Bolton in the past who became a pro and is one of the better 147 pounders in the world. I mean, there's some special talent. I definitely think David Marquez, if he just, I mean, I think he's already a special talent. I think if he continues like this, man, I don't see how anybody doesn't want a kid like that on their card. He's fantastic.
Yeah, George, that's where I come in. Turn David pro for Fighters Rep, and we'll continue to fight for you. You know?
Yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, Gary, what do you think? You know, I know you're really big on technique. You know, so.
Oh no, I think he has it all. I mean, a lot of times, me just watching some of these fighters, they have legs, they don't have hands. They struggle with the hands. Then you have some that are more boxers than kickboxers. They don't kick as much.
Yeah,
he does it all. It's whatever you want to go to, and he has a mean streak in him, which I love in fighters. I always like a fighter that wants to put somebody out, not really go the distance. Like when they have it, put them out. You know what I mean? And so and he has good movement, good cardio, a good chin. Even though we don't want people to know we have a good chin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. He hasn't been hit clean too many times, but you know, when he has been hit, just hasn't seemed to really. The only time I seen him get really hit significantly was, I think, in that Yadir Perez, where it was like a flash knockdown, but it was like nothing happened. Maybe it was more of a balance thing, even. You know, he went down, he got right back up, and came back and won by head kick knockout. That, you know, it's classic knockout. I mean, if you ask me, that was an incredible knockout.
For that fight, we've been training because Yadir was a southpaw. Bring in the right cross, and that head kick's gonna follow right away. Bring in the right cross, head kick, follow away. He threw it. I think he threw it like 4 times, and it wasn't landing, and it wasn't landing. Then it finally landed. So it's it's the training game. But trust me, David has been hit. You know, I'm not gonna say who are the fighters, but they are the fighters from Fighters Rep. He has been hit. Okay. We know. Me and Josh will see it. We understand it. Stephanie's there. We understand, you know, when he gets hit. But look at his guard now, George. You know, Gary, his guard is higher now, you know. So after he fought Yadir, after he fought Ralph for the very first time, his guard has been up higher. So, you know, we're protecting him, you know. We want him to continue on with the fighting game. So, therefore, we got to continue to protect his face, you know.
Yeah. So just like I asked you with Sergio, what do you think, like, to improve, that he can improve on, or that he has improved on since you've been coaching him?
So like I said, David's power has been strong, you know. So anybody out there that want to improve on their power, I'm gonna give you some tips. You know, come over here. We're over there at Tillis MMA and also at BP Martial Arts. Come with me. I'm gonna show you how to strengthen up your power. You'll see it. Okay. David's power has been stronger. You know, I learned from David of how to improve his fight when David first fought for George and Fighters Rep. He messed up his hand from a motorcycle accident. We had to move and work on a different hand. Once we work on that different hand, that power came in. You know, once we knew that power came in, we have to improve the right power, you know. But like I said, it's teamwork. Coach Stephanie's been working with him, you know, on his conditioning, his cardio, keeping his guard up. You know, Matthew Johnson was with David working on his speed, you know, and then Josh coming in, working on his aggression, you know, going in there. You know, if you watch me, I'm pretty calm, you know, but Josh wants to finish it right away, you know, so all the finish that he has, it's all because of Josh, you know. Josh wants to finish it all the way, you know. Me, I wanna, you know, hey, take your time. You know, set up that high kick, set up that low kick, you know, try to confuse, you know, your fighter, your opponent. So trying to make it more, you know, for the fans to kind of see, you know, what kind of skill level is out there in kickboxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you guys haven't seen his knees yet. You guys never had the opportunity to see his knees
No,
yet.
I haven't.
So now against Fisher, we're bringing knees. Okay. We're
Hey,
bringing
don't
knees.
give away all your fight plan now. Don't give
No,
away it
no.
all.
My plans always no. I always talk to George. George, if you put
Pot's
in
not worried about it. Pot's not worried about it.
I'm going to give you the fight plan. It's how you execute it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every single fighter has punches, kicks, knees, check blocks. Has everybody going into that ring has the same, skill level. It's how you execute it, how you set it up. So
Yeah.
these are the things that we, when you're sparring 25 rounds, you better start setting things up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gary, what happened to you, man? Is the lights
I don't
going
know.
out?
Give me you guys get going. Let me see what's going on. You can't even see me. All you see is teeth. I don't know what's going on here. Let me figure it out. Go ahead.
The other thing I want to credit David with and you with, I mean, you mentioned you were working on his power. It's really interesting to me, Coach Pot, because a lot of people believe you can't really improve power in fighting, right? A lot of people believe you either have power or you don't. I guess there's like ways to deliver that can improve the power, though. You would know better than me. But I'm impressed with. I mean, you see it in the Sanchez fight, right? I mean, the first fight was a close fight. The second fight, he was able to end the fight, and you see it in the Yadir fight too. And not only that, he's had a finish with kicks, and he's had a finish with punches, multiple finishes with punches. So, he can kind of get you out of there pretty much with kicks or with punches. He's got power in his hands and his feet. And, he's just a dangerous guy. He's just a very dangerous guy.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, how do you think he's going to adjust going down 122 pounds?
He's going to be the same. We just got to learn how to fight, somebody, a little shorter than David. Most of his sparring partner are taller than him, so, now we have to put our range where we're fighting somebody shorter. So, we fought Tebow, Tebow was shorter than David, but, I was one of Jason Childers' coaches, So I told him, hey, you might see some of my style in there, so you know, in that fight, you saw some of my style that David already knew, but like I said, we just have to adjust it. I'm not going to go into David's camp yet until August. Once I get into August, I'm going to go into his camp, so I have that whole month to get him. That boxer named Crawford?
Oh yeah. Okay. I think I know him.
Yeah, Crawford. He shows videos of how he trains. He shows videos of how to improve your punch. I'm not gonna say just watch his videos, and then once you understand how the hand works, how the twisting of the hips, how everything moves, strength and conditioning. So that's how we work on it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Help us build and support these young fighters. And don't forget, FightersRep 25 and 26 are going down September 7th and September 21st. And the only way to watch it is to get yourself a ticket at FightersRep.com or to join this channel. Definitely, if you come out to FightersRep 25, you'll see Coach Pot in the corner for Sergio Rodriguez and for David Death Dealer Marquez. We're excited to see him there, and we're excited for these fights. Coach Pot, is there anything else you wanted to share with us, Coach Pot? I mean, I know you're a little bit busy today, but I wanted to at least get you on the first half of this show so we can talk about these fights.
Thank you very much. I'm probably gonna head out in a bit because I got to go teach at Tillis MMA. So nice. I'm creating fighters for you. I got some in line for you, George. I just want you to kind of expose them to in the FightersRep. So that's going to be coming soon in 2025. So just know I have them ready for you. Okay, Gary, man, a pleasure to meet you.
Same here, man.
Smile up, man. I love it. And I love how you and George always interact with each other during the show. I love watching it. Okay. So keep it going.
Oh, you got to see us off the show.
Okay. I'm picking Ennis, okay?
All right, there we go.
I'm picking Ennis.
Sounds like a good pick. Sounds like a good
knockout or distance.
Style of fighting. You'll see a little Sergio, the Cuban missile in there too.
Okay.
Pop, okay? Just let you guys know that, okay?
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys. I gotta go teach class, okay?
Thank you, Coach Pop. Appreciate your time, man.
Cool.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Coach Jaron Pot, a fantastic coach. Basically, if you guys don't know, Pradal Saray background, right? The Cambodian martial arts. That's where his family comes from. I believe it's his father that taught him that martial art, very similar to Muay Thai. A lot of people believe, there's a little argument that they predate the Muay Thai fighting style, but nonetheless, a fantastic, beautiful culture, a beautiful martial art. And shout out to Coach Pot. We love having him on and talking to him. So, Gary.
Yeah.
It's on to the next, brother. We got to talk about Jaron Boots Ennis on Saturday, taking on David Avanesyan. David is pretty much like a late notice replacement for Cody Crowley, who had to pull out because he's got issues with his retina. And it looks like the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission just wouldn't clear him, Gary. He's got to go get surgery done. I kind of feel bad for the guy, because
I thought he had the surgery. I thought it said it needs more time to heal.
It could be that, it could be that it needs more time to heal. I'm not sure if he's going to need another surgery. I don't know. I guess there's like some sort of water in there or something. I'm not really sure, but I kind of feel bad for the guy because, he definitely has an interesting story. He seems like a cool guy, seems like a humble guy. He was finally getting an opportunity. He's an undefeated fighter, 22-0. And, it looked like it was going to be a fun matchup. But, injuries happen. This kind of stuff happens. And now we have, Gary, a 34-1 power punching welterweight in David Avanesyan, who, also has a pretty good experience level and has been in there with Terrence Bud Crawford. And I think that's what makes this really interesting, right? Because now they're going to have a common opponent and people are going to look at the way Boots Ennis deals with Avanesyan and they're going to, speculate some more about this potential fight. So obviously, just tell me what you think about this fight, and if you have any predictions.
Well, you already know I'm going with Boots. I was going with Boots over Cody Crowley too. And like you said, I find Cody Crowley a very likable guy. But I think he's gonna get the hell beat out of him. But I find him a very likable guy. Now, as far as Avanesyan's a good, solid guy. Is not. I mean, I know some people are saying like, "Oh, who's this guy? Is Terrence Crawford leftovers?" I mean, he lost before Terrence Crawford fought him, so that means Terrence Crawford was getting somebody else's leftovers. Give me 1 second, real quick. Come on, but
Sugar in the house.
But he's a game opponent. It's stupid. He's a game opponent. You know what I'm saying? He can hit hard. He's a vet. He's been in there with a lot of good fighters. So I know people want to kind of go and say, well, let's see how Boots do with him versus how Terrence did with him and things of that nature. I don't really think that tells you how the fight gonna go between the two, really. Because I mean, if we're doing that, we can go all the way back to Delorme. Delorme fought Bud, and so did Boots, and Boots finished him faster. But that doesn't mean that Boots will beat Terrence or whatever.
The boxing math doesn't always math, like the kids say, right?
Yeah. But I thought that was a beautiful save, in my opinion, by Eddie Hearns to throw him in there with somebody who buzzed. See, like, look, because he knows casual fans will do what? Compare.
Yeah.
And since you can't get Cody Crowley, the guy you had to fight, and the guy that was undefeated, might as well throw him in there with somebody who Bud fought 2 years ago to say, see, you could say, see what Boots did to him. If Boots puts on the performance, I think he will. You can say, see what Boots, this is why they need to fight. So I thought it was a good strategy. A lot of people are like, well, why he didn't fight this guy? Why he didn't fight this guy? And they don't understand that he had to fight somebody who was in the top 15 of the IBF. And he already beat Villa, who I think was, I don't know, was he 2 or 3 or something like that? No, 3. And Cody was, I think, 2 was out of there. He already beat he already beat Karen. Those were the top 3 of the IBF, I believe, unless you can double check that. But and then you go down the list, who you want him to fight? He can't just fight other fighters. He had to fight somebody in the top 15 in the IBF. So kind of the same situation I believe Terrence Crawford was in at a point, and he chose Avanesyan. So I think it's a good. It's another fight. We've been saying this the last 2 weeks with T.O., then Shakur. Now it's with Boots. This is another fight that's supposed to be, to show people what you can do.
A showcase. A showcase.
Yeah, a showcase.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I feel like this, it's a dangerous switch. It's a dangerous switch because they're different, right? And I still think Boots is going to win. I still think Boots wins handily, but it could get a little slippery because Cody Crowley, he doesn't really have power like that, bro. He just doesn't have power.
Yeah.
Avanesyan does.
Has power, yeah.
Avanesyan does, and I know he got taken out by Terrence Crawford, but while he was in there, he put up a decent account for himself. He's a tough guy. And he was getting, before he fought Crawford, he was having like a resurgence. He was getting better. And he was starting to, kind of get to that world level. And then unfortunately, he got derailed by probably the best guy in the game, right, in Terrence Crawford. So, I don't really hold that against him. Now, where I'm worried for Avanesyan is he hasn't fought since that Crawford loss, since 2022. And it was the end of 2022, but we're still talking, over a year and
a year and a half. Yeah.
Over a year and a half. But, he's good enough. He's good enough to be a good replacement for Cody Crowley. And I almost think, a part of me thinks that it might even be a tougher fight than a fight with Cody Crowley, if I'm being honest with you, because at least Avanesyan has power. Now, I don't know if his chin is gone from that Crawford fight because he suffered a brutal knockout in that fight. But, he hasn't really – he's only lost 4 times. And, besides that knockout against Crawford, he was only stopped one other time, ironically, by the Mean Machine, Kavaliauskas. So, I think it's a dangerous fight. It's a last-minute switch, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop Jaron Boots Ennis, bro. He looks like a special fighter. Now, to me, again, I'm excited to see him because against Karin, I didn't think he looked that great, and I know Karin was running around, but still. And against Villa, again, you know how I feel about that fight. I feel like he got hit way, way too much in that fight. I don't think Crawford gets hit that much in that fight. And so I'm kind of excited to see how he does in this Avanesyan fight, just so I can get another look at him and kind of use it as a barometer, see what his level is. You know what I mean? I want to see what his level is, So that's why I'm excited about this fight. Now, if you ask me who's going to win, I think he's going to try to make a statement, Gary. Yeah. I think he's going to try to make a statement that could be for better or for worse. And it's in his hometown, and they haven't had boxing there. People are saying they haven't had boxing in Philly or whatever it is for like 50 years. I don't know how long it's been. So he wants to have a epic showcase homecoming, right? And he wants to sleep with the homecoming queen when he goes back to Philly. You know what I mean? He wants to do it big, Gary. So I'm going to say he comes through, But I don't know. It depends on what Avanesyan looks like. I still want to say it's going to go past the midpoint. I think he could get Avanesyan out of there in the second half of the fight. I'm seeing a knockout or a TKO in the second half of the fight. But if he gets it in the first half, that's a big statement.
Yeah, I agree with you. If he gets in the first half, that's a big statement. I think he wants to make that statement. I'm kind of leaning towards around the same time Terrence Crawford knocked him out.
Wow.
Around the fifth or sixth. I'm thinking of like it's gonna be fifth or sixth, around that area, fifth, sixth, or seventh, in that like time. I think it's gonna happen around the same time. I know he's gonna want to put on the gas and get him out of there early, but I just feel like it's probably gonna take fifth or sixth round, and then you'll get some people saying, "Oh, he's washed at the Terrence, and he took him to steal the 6 rounds or whatever." But I that's pretty much what I think. I just don't think he was gonna have enough athleticism for Boots, and I just think Boots is gonna control the fight. I know you think he got hit too much with Villa. I don't necessarily think that. I think that he actually fought a fight to engage with Villa, because I believe after a while he decided, kind of almost like Tank, but not like exactly like Tank, because he starts faster than Tank. But once Tank feels your power and he thinks he can take it, now he goes to walking you down, and he goes to saying, "All right, you know what I'm saying? I'll get hit," because Tank gets hit. Yeah. Tank gets hit in all his fights, but he's not really worried about that. Because only time he's worried about it, you could tell when he fought Rolly, he got on that back foot. He was like, "Oh, this dude can crack." You know what I mean? I can't take too many of those. And he even admitted he was worried about it with Ryan, because he says, "I know Ryan can crack." You know what I mean? And so that's the only time you really see him. You have to earn these type of guys' respect. Boots is the type of guy that if you don't earn his respect and he don't feel like you can really go with him, you're not on his level, he's gonna run you over like a Mack truck. Yeah, he's just gonna run through you. So I see about around that. This is what I see. I'm high on him. I'm looking for better performances. Tio didn't give me what I needed. Shakur didn't, even though they both won-handedly. Shakur, don't start tweeting me, okay? If I ain't nobody, but I don't want the smoke. Well, maybe we need him to tweet us.
Hey, Gary,
maybe we need him to tweet us. But I'm a Shakur fan though.
Well, listen, if Shakur Stevens said, if you tweet me, I'm gonna slap the fire out your ass, bro.
You pulling the camera on?
I'm just playing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I mean, also the point I made to you earlier, I think Eddie Hearns is doing an excellent job promoting Boots. Yeah. I mean, I think I haven't seen him do this many interviews, be this open, be this, selling himself this much since he's gotten with Eddie Hearns. I think Eddie Hearns did a good job of finding a replacement fight for Cody Crowley, picking somebody who Boots fought, which brings intrigue, makes people want to see, but also picking a fighter who is a credible fighter. Not no bullshit fighter. He's a credible fighter.
By the way, shout out to H Money Mob, the H Money Boxing. Thank you for being in here. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Consider joining the channel to help us not only build the channel, but build our full-fledged kickboxing promotion. Fighters Rep 25 and 26 go down September 7th and September 21st. Go ahead, Gary. Sorry about that, brother.
Yeah, but I'm hoping for a bloodbath, because the last 2 fights we've been doing, it ain't been there. I need a bloodbath. I need something. I like technical boxing. I love it. But every now and then I want to see somebody get knocked out.
I think with Boots Ennis, you are very likely to get both. You are very likely to get technique. And what I like about him, us being from down here in Miami, we like athleticism, bro. I think we like it too much, to be honest with you, and I think maybe that's why me and you overcompensate by looking at technique, because we're so used to everybody being a good athlete. Like everybody was a good athlete growing up. But I think with Boots Ennis, you kind of get that trifecta. You get the excitement. You can get the excitement of an explosive knockout. you get the technique and you get the athleticism, and I feel like, a guy, for instance, like Shakur, right? We're seeing that he can deliver on the athleticism and the technique, but the knockout, not so much. Same with Tio now, since he moved up to 140 or whatever. It's just the power's not really translating there. But I think with Boots, and Boots' knockout power, it seems to be he's so athletic. He's so fast, that he generates. It's like Pacquiao, they generate power from their speed, from their sheer speed. You know what I mean? Or like a Roy Jones. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that fight, man. I don't know, man. Maybe you need to come here. We need to have some drinks and watch this shit, man. My place,
Hey, maybe you gotta talk about it, man.
And you gotta bring the food over though, bro.
But man. I'm really looking forward to it. I really think that if he really puts on a good performance right now, it ratchets up the pressure for more people to fight him, more of the big names to come out and really they will have to stop saying, they will literally have to stop saying he brings nothing to the table. Because I think right now,
that's an excuse at this point. That's an excuse.
I think if he really does what I think he's gonna do in this fight, he's gonna start bringing himself up to that next level. And Eddie Hearn is promoting him right, and I think he's gonna start ascending to that. And you don't have no choice, but the fans are gonna call for you to fight the guy. I don't think Bud will ever fight him. Well, no. maybe. I don't think so. I don't think so. But maybe he moves up to 154. Errol, if Errol don't retire, because he's talking about retiring. But maybe he gets. Norman. What's his name? I can't think of his name. Junior in the 147.
Yeah, Brian. Brian Norman.
Brian Norman Jr. That'll be a good fight too. I think Boots will beat him, but that'll be a good fight. But you got these guys like Mario Barrios and stuff like this. He need to go ahead and get the belts and move up to 154 for Boots if he wins this fight. But I think he will.
No, I think he'll win as well. I think he's a fantastic talent. I think he did the right thing, Gary, going with Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, looking at it, I think he did too.
Bro, because Hearn, even though he's a white dude from England, bro, for whatever reason, the Saudis, my brothers, they're paying more attention to him than me. I don't know what I did wrong. Maybe because I'm in kickboxing instead of boxing, but I think he did the right thing. He's going to have access to that Saudi interest now with Hearn, with all the fighters they have over there in Europe as well, and in the UK. He's going to have more options. Because if Boots were to sign with an American promoter, like strictly American promoter, I do think he's going to have less options. And the problem, like you're saying, is people don't want to fight him. I do think when you open it up internationally, though, now people are going to be willing to throw themselves into the fire. They're going to be willing to take that opportunity. And I do think it'll expand his profile internationally, which is something that would be really good for Boots. I also think Boots' personality is conducive to that, right? Because he's not really brash. He's not too outspoken. So he's going to need a little bit of help. You know what I mean? If he's lacking anywhere, Gary, it's the promotion, it's the marketing, the promotional aspect. But he's so athletic, he's so dynamic, he's so fantastic at what he does that I think if you put him on the international stage, right, people will look at him. And on the international stage, I feel like people can relate more to those guys that are a bit more chill, not so brash. Like the brash, crazy thing is more of like an American flavor, if you will,
And what's crazy is that him and Bud Crawford have the same temperament. Neither one of them really want to because he even said I wouldn't have social media if it wasn't I was in the box.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the mean streak. I haven't seen the well, maybe he does.
You're talking about off camera or in the ring, because in the ring, I think he has the same mean streak that Bud has.
You're right.
Off the camera, not as much, because I think Bud is like off camera is like the Grinch that stole Christmas.
Bud's over the top, bro. Bud's over the top. I think.
But when I mean demeanor is they both are. They're not for the like in his recent interviews is like he's not for all the talking, I don't really trash talk unless dudes really trash talk to me. And that's the same kind of way Bud was. And it's like I'm not into the talking over Twitter and doing all this. Like, let's just fight. That's all like, and they're really just, and because that was the problem with Bud with Top Rank is that he didn't market himself as much as they wanted him to. And I think with Boots, you don't really hear from him much. I think he does. I think he does the media, especially now, is because they're like, "Yo, I'm trying to make you a star. Like, can you talk to people and give more than just the one word of, yeah, I just want to fight. Yeah."
Yeah. No, I hear you. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what's happening. Maybe we get the ribs going on Saturday, and then you tell me what's going on. But ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, that's pretty much all we've got for you today on this episode of the Fighters Rep Podcast, episode 44. The title will be amended. Join the channel, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it, help us continue to build. We talk combat sports, especially boxing, and we have our own promotion built into the channel, Fighters Rep, a full-fledged kickboxing promotion on the West Coast in Southern California, on the East Coast, down here in South Florida. And you're helping us build by being here. Any super chat, any super thanks, any merchandise you buy, all of this stuff's just going to get reinvested back into the promotion and back into the channel to make it better. Gary, anything you want to leave Knucklehead Nation with before we sign out?
Nope. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate you, Gary. See you soon, man.
Yeah.
All right, bro.